So to get started adding this transparent header option here, we're going to go to header and navigation, and we'll go to primary menu bar. I'm just going to scroll down here right where we were earlier where it says bitter. I'm going to go to where it says background color, click on this selection, and then I'm going to just change it so you can see it go into effect. See that red right there? Obviously you almost can't miss that probably, that red that went into effect. What I'm going to do is actually go to where it's black, and I'm going to kind of make it lighter, this gradient here. And you can see as I do this, up here it's the darkest, and down here it will be fully transparent. Now I personally don't want it to be fully transparent because I want the menu to show on each page, and I'll show you what it will look like in this error that we can run into. So if I make it completely transparent where you can see through it, and if we have our menu option showing here, it'll be home, pricing, blog, contact. It looks a little smaller because of the way it's set up. But I'll just save it and I'll show you what it will look like when it is fully transparent like that and the error that we will run into. So if we just refresh it, there's the full transparency and our menu looks normal over here. When it's over here like this, it's for basically a tablet. The size of the screen would fit a tablet, and that's why it goes to this type of menu style, and you can change that also, and we'll get into that as we move along here. But here it will show the menu and transparency with nothing there. But if we go to click on pricing, let's say, now it looks kind of funny. This is off to the right, this pricing, and we can still see it for now. But if we wanted to make it more transparent for the home page, if we wanted to leave this transparency, we would have to change this text color, and it could be very difficult to see if this is a light text color on a light background. The only reason why we can see it right now is because it's kind of a darker text on a light background. So if I were to change this to be white, you wouldn't be able to see that on the other page. I hope that makes sense, and I'm going to kind of go through how to change this to look a little bit better as we get into the text color here, the background color here rather, and I'll click on that, on this background color, and I will just drag this up, and I'm going to make it somewhat dark here. It might even look a little too dark to you, but you can still see through it technically right here. You can see the edges of the photo and the camera and the lens, and I'm just going to save that right now with how it looks. So if we wanted to change some other options, we can do that. We can go and change, and if we didn't want the logo to show, we can hide it. But let's actually go back one more time to header format, and let's change the style. I want it to be a centered, so I went to header format, and I'll make it centered here. And now the logo looks much larger on this style than it did just on the previous page. Now if you wanted, you could do centered inline logo and see what that looks like. It's probably better to see it on the actual full size rather than the tablet size. So that's what header inline logo would look like. I don't think it's really the best look. I prefer it to be centered, and I'll just save this, and we'll refresh over here and see what that looks like. And that's the one I kind of prefer, is the centered over top of the actual menu. And I'm going to go back here now that that's in place, and I'm going to go to primary, and I will scroll down. If you want to, you can change the font style. You can change the text color, which I'm going to get into here. And if I change this text color to be white, and then I just save it and publish, let's go back here and I'll refresh this page. And now we see that the text color became lighter on this dark background. Now to make it even more white, we can click on text color again, and we can go like this and make it more white by dragging the bar up with the gradient bar there, and we'll refresh this, and now it has even a brighter white to the color here. So that's how you can make it stand out or kind of pop on that darker background. A couple other things with this menu. If we go back in here, let's just scroll up, and I'm going to hit this back button, and then I'll hit where it says header elements, and I'm going to take this off, this search icon. And if you look right here, that's what this is right here, the search icon. And I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to click show social media just to show you what it would look like. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm going to remove that as well. You can add a phone number and email, which will show up here in the header as well, in this header area. And for now, I'm just going to click Save without anything in this section. Refresh, and now we will no longer have this search icon here. So this is what it looks like for now. It says my logo and for the logo, and then it has the pricing as well. And one last thing that we can actually change that I kind of prefer to change is I like to change the main or the navigation link here, the main one that's highlighted. We can go back here again, go to primary menu, and we're going to scroll down again. It's a little hard to scroll sometimes on this. We're going to scroll down though, and then active link color is currently blue. We're going to change that to be a little bit different color, and I like it something that pops a little bit, so something like this would be good. And this is a hex color here. If we just copy that, we can use it later on in the tutorial. So I would maybe consider opening a Word document or a Notepad document and just saving it. And now with that, save that color, and now you can see this is more in line with our logo color, so it kind of looks a little better. And if I clicked on pricing, this would take us to the pricing page, and now we have this better color on this dark background, I think, when you combine a look of it. So now it will look this way on each page rather than just being this white on white or a hard page to read. And then when we have our full page here, it will show us this background image, this full image. Now if you wanted to speed up the page loading time there, like you saw it kind of gradually goes in, it probably is doing that because, one, I'm recording, but also because the image is so large. So I would definitely suggest you reduce it in something like Paint or Canva, or a program like that where you can reduce the size of it to be about 1200 or something like 1200 by 900, something smaller that will definitely reduce the size of the image. Next, I wanted to go over how to add some text here in the middle, and I want to have some text added, and I'm going to go back and X out of this to go back to the dashboard here, and we're on the page that says Home. We can actually just click on this where it says Full Width Header, and we can add something here in the center. So let's go and add a title. And for this title, I'm just going to put Dream Big. Just have some nice text there. And I'm just going to save it and exit. And then click Update on the right side here. And here I will just refresh it. And now it should say Dream Big right here in the middle. And there we are. There's where it says Dream Big. Now if I wanted to edit it with the front end builder here, I can click Enable Visual Builder right here on the front end. And now it will enable the builder, and what I can do is just click on this module settings icon right here on the gray one. Click on that and you'll see this Dream Big text. I can go to where it says Design, and you can actually move and drag this around by clicking and holding that to drag it around if you can't see very well. And I'll click on Design here, and now I'm going to go down to where it says Title Font Size, and we can just edit this right here on the spot and make it something like, I don't know, 58, let's go with. And that's probably a big size there, and I'm going to change the title font actually, and I'll make this Lobster. I know that's a pretty good one for this. And then I'm just going to save it by clicking that check mark. And now to actually save it entirely, we'll have to click Expand here on this purple icon at the bottom and click Save on the right side to make the changes go into effect fully. And we'll see you have to see that little check mark here. So I'm going to click Exit Visual Builder, and now we'll have a better idea of what it really looks like when it loads. And now you can see it's a little higher up, it's a little more centered on the page, I guess. So that's how we could see how to add text here. If you wanted to, you can also add a button within the full width header here. Click in here where it says button text. And that's something that's an option here where it says button 1 text and button 1 URL. You can do that to add that option in here, and it would go right in this area between this Dream Big and the icon here. I'm not going to add one for now, but I may come back to that. And the last two things I wanted to touch on in this header area and this image here, I'll show you here in the back end. If we go back to where our full width header module settings are and we just scroll down, we'll see that we have this thing called the background overlay color. And if we click on this, we can scroll down a little bit and we'll see that we have this option for different overlays. So if I were to make it, let's say blue, and I'll just save it, and I'll just preview the changes here. I'm just going to click preview to open a new tab. We'll see that now it's blue on the background, and that can make your whole background blue. But if we were to go back here again into the full width header, you can actually do this from the customizer a little bit easier. And if I want to go here again and then make it somewhat less of a gradient and more transparent, and again preview the changes, now it will be a lighter blue over it and you can see the background image. You can do this with any color. Sometimes it works good to do that with black if you have lighter colors for the text that you're going for. Originally the image that I chose was pretty good for this, so I'm actually going to leave it as is with this background overlay color like that. And if you changed it and you can't change it back, just make sure you go to black and then make it fully transparent with the gradient here on the right. And that should basically alleviate any problems with the background color sticking, so you don't get stuck with this blue if you don't really want it. You can just go over here and drag this bar all the way down and then save it to update the color back to the original. If you just click clear on the right of it, it won't do that. So the other thing I wanted to go over is if we look at the home page of our site, we'll see that there's just this home pricing blog contact, and it might look a little small to you with the menu. So I'm going to go back here, go to Appearance, Customize, Header and Navigation here. And it's hard to see the menu here with this. We'll have to click this option to drop down. But if we go down to where it says Primary Menu Bar, and we can just scroll down a little bit, I want to increase that text size a little bit here. So where it says text size, I'm going to make it go up to about 20. I think looks pretty good. That might seem a little big, but let's just save it and we'll be able to see it better here on this page once we refresh it. And now you can see it has a little bit bigger size here. I think it looks better at this size than it did at 14. Now you might not want to go all the way up to 20 like I just did, but you can see that it looks pretty good here at 20, I think, as well. A little bit better in my opinion at 20. Maybe you want to do something like 18, 16. I think it looks better than 14 though. Now the last thing I would say with this is it might make this look a little bit smaller, so you may actually want to increase this again. And you can do that in a couple ways with the Visual Builder, or you can do it back in the back end of the normal Divi editor as well. So the last thing I'll show you right now is if you wanted to look at this at different sizes, you can do this in a couple ways. You can click down here and it will show you on a laptop what the settings will look like. And here's what it will look like on a tablet in the center. And here is a smartphone size on this as well. And the menu will shrink to adapt to it. Now you can also just go right here in your browser and click this, and you can shrink it down to see the actual size. So let's go on the right page here. And it still would look like this on a smartphone. And then if we want to drag it, we'll see that it will expand with the size of the device, and it will make it auto fit depending on how big the device is. And once you get to a certain size, it will actually put the menu back on its own. Do you see how it's just snapped back on there? Now the menu is right here at this point, and then if you drag it a little more, it will just snap right back into place, and it will begin to adjust due to the size of the device that you're using. So it's a really cool feature with these responsive sites, and I just wanted to show you that live there. One other thing we can do is actually change the accent color of our theme. And if we see right here, it's a bluish color. Let's just go back here, and we'll need to go back one more time, and we'll get to where it says General Settings right here. And we can go to where it says Layout Settings, and then we'll see this Theme Accent Color. And what I want to do is make this theme accent color the same color that we decided to use up here and for the icons when we hover over it in the main menu. So if you see the main menu icons, it's going to be this color right here. Not actually this logo color, but this one. and I want it to look like that on this 3 bars here as the accent color. So I can click on that, and I already have the code from earlier. If you don't, you can look in your menu what you set it as, and I'm just going to change that, and you'll see it changed right here to blue. If I went back to default, it will go to the blue, and then if I add it again, I'll just delete it and add it again, and there it goes back to the accent color. So now this will be the accent color throughout the theme, so it will be a lot of basically coordination on each page to look this way. So it really is consistent with the look of the website when you add that as the accent color. You might see a lot of blue accent colors as like the default for Divi themes, and you can kind of tell that's what website or what theme the website is using a lot of times just by this blue default color that people don't change. So if I save that and I go back and refresh, you're not going to see anything different here, but if I make it smaller and shrink it down again, here's the menu, and you can click on this and you'll see there's the drop down, and this accent color right here changed as well to this greenish color. So that is a cool way to change that quickly. And next I'm going to start getting into developing out the next section of the page for the home page. We'll just click back here and get back to the dashboard to start off.